Good evening, everyone. It's May 17th, 2016 is the regular meeting of the Board of Education. It's also budget vote and trustee vote day. The polls are open for another 50 minutes, so you have plenty of time to finish up your dinner, have some dessert, and get out to the polls before they close. And it's important that you do that. So before we start with the agenda, I'm going to ask everybody to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, well, we're going to start off with comments by board members. Henry, can I start you off?
You certainly can.
All right.
Sure, I just wanted to say, please go out. Remember to go out and vote in the next 50 minutes. I attended the Cottle Art Show on Wednesday, and kudos to Mrs. Durbin. I thought it was a great show. I was able to see all the artwork that was hanging up all throughout the Cottle building. And then on Thursday, I got to see the chorus concert, and thanks to Miss Kim and both to Mr. Albano for growing that program and supporting it. I thought the show was really good. I also heard the Buddy Bench had their its inaugural meeting yesterday, and I hope that goes. I heard that it's all the talk of the Cottle Playground. So I hope that initiative goes well. And finally, I was remiss last month not to comment on the high school production of The Little Mermaid. I did see it, and I just want to say that I really enjoy attending the spring musical every year. I've been here 7 years. I've seen the spring musical every year. I always have a great time. And I truly believe it gets better every year. I'm impressed with the hard work that the kids do at these shows, and I think that the performance that Dr. G. Moser, I always say Mosier. Dr. Mosier, get the performances that she gets out of the children is really astounding for teenagers. So I think that's great, and the production values are better and better every year from the costumes and the set. And Mr. Garuffi does a great job with the band every year. And that's my report. Thanks very much.
And Henry, you're involved in the theater, so this is a professional observation.
This carries extra weight.
That's right. Okay, Michelle?
Sure. I just, as Henry was saying, it's a very busy time of year, and really a great time to appreciate all we offer here in our arts and music programs. I just want to shout out to all the kids that, we are just so proud of them and their efforts and our staff and everything that goes into making them all such a success. And also really to our board and our administration, really proud of the fact that we've been able to not only keep these programs going, but enhance and enrich and really for the betterment of our students. So it's really always this time of year that it's really so evident in our schools, all we have to offer there. I did want to just put a reminder out that this Saturday is the Junior Class Carnival, very big event for the entire community, and all the kids will be working really hard. Their class advisors are working them very hard. The parents and the students really do a lot of work and effort. This is the junior class's opportunity to fundraise for their senior year, and it's a great opportunity for the entire community to come out and support them. A lot of fun for the kids. Let's pray for some sunshine. So that's this Saturday, May 21st from 11 to 4 o'clock at the Cottle Field.
And really one of the ways that they use the money that they raise is to decrease the cost of the senior prom, so that to ensure that everybody
not just the prom, but like a lot of the events that the yearbook costs and a lot of the things that are involved in their senior year. So they work really hard to put that together.
Kathy?
Okay, being the third one online here, I do want to mention that yes, the polls are still open for 45 minutes, so please come out and vote on the budget. Prom is also this Thursday, so please come out and see our seniors all dressed up and all decked out and everything else. They have a great time. It's 5 o'clock in front of the high school, hoping that it doesn't rain on them. So sunshine, sunshine, sunshine. Also, a little mention about the Junior Carnival, having a junior this year. Please come out and support them. It is a great fundraiser. You can have food, there's blow-ups there are games, and the kids are very excited. There also, if you want to support the car wash, my husband will be there, so he will make sure that your car gets washed spick and span there. And the last thing I wanted to mention was please look at the calendars because there are a lot of spring concerts going on. I know that the high school just had theirs this past Monday, and a great event, and it's always sad to see the seniors, you know, up there the last time and how they perform and everything, but it was great. I know Cottle still has a couple of more going on, and the middle school has one next Wednesday, I think. So come out, and it's a great opportunity to see our children. Thank you.
Right, and that's an invitation that we extend to all members of the community, not just the schools. So, you know, if you ever wonder what you get for your tax dollars, come on out and see these kids and the talents that they have and how their teachers help to enrich them. So, yeah, being third is tough. Being fourth and last every weekend or every meeting is really tough. So, again, just encourage everybody to go out and vote. I did have an opportunity last night when I was at the high school concert to kind of look outside at the bulletin board of the guidance counselor's office, and the acceptances are literally down to the floor. Typically, they'll put a letter T with the name of the college that they've gotten accepted to, the seniors, and I mean the board is full and is going down to the floor. And it's these are some great schools, and we're really proud of all of the work that these kids have done, including you, Frank, and you can tell us about your college plans when it's your turn to comment. But again, as everybody has said, there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of graduations, stepping up ceremonies, kindergarten, stepping up and graduations, and come on out and see how your tax dollars are spent, and you'll see that you're going to get a great return on your investment. So now there's 44 minutes left that the polls are open. Please go out. Dr. Wilson?
Yes, I'd like to, just to build on what was said with respect to all the various events. I think, Ellen, actually, you have your concert, is it next
Wednesday.
Next Wednesday. And as mentioned, the high school concert last night was just terrific. I think that many of you have heard about the Buddy Bench, which had its grand opening at Cottle School and was actually on television tonight. It's really a great thing that the PTA gave to the school, and the idea is that if you need a friend, or if youngsters on the playground and sitting over there in the Buddy Bench, it means that some other student is most welcome to come over and get to know them and make friends, and it's something that the kids really enjoyed the grand opening of that yesterday. There are a lot of events coming up, as mentioned, just to carry it through a little bit more. On June 1st, the high school will have its academic awards here at the high school gymnasium at 7 o'clock. And Memorial Day, as I understand, is a tradition. There's a ceremony, a Memorial Day ceremony that involves all the students and members of the community on the turf field, and that is scheduled this year for May 23rd at 9 a.m. Then just to give a plug that the next Board of Education meeting will be on June 6th coming up. A lot of good news about Tuckahoe athletic performance, and I don't want to steal Frank's thunder. I think he should be the one to report on the baseball team, but I will mention as well that the softball team are league champions, and they're seeded #1 in the tournament with a record of 16-2. And Frank, as I'm sure you'll mention later, also good news about the baseball team. Both teams, I understand, are seeded and will be playing in the sectional playoffs. In the case of softball, May 23rd, the semifinal game in their division will be at Cottle or Chester Heights, to be determined. And then from there they would advance on the weekend for the championship. So we'll see how all that plays out. Other things of note in terms of coming up, this will be sectional playoffs. I guess that pretty much covers it. And I think that I'll end it there on that basis. Maybe, Carl, you have some things to add.
Sure, just a couple of congratulations. First, the Little Mermaid, Henry, you mentioned earlier what a spectacular performance it was. We were just nominated for the Metropolitan High School Theater Awards, and the categories are for Renz Toledo, featured ensemble member. He also received it for comic performance, stage crew, and our lighting design. So we received nominations in 4 categories, and in June we'll have the official ceremony. So congratulations to Dr. Mosier and the entire cast at the high school and middle school. Also, our students this past week went to Music in the Parks Festival, which is a music competition. This year was held at Great Adventure, which is always a big draw. But there was a competition with many schools. The high school chorus took first place, and the high school band took third place. We're very proud of them. Although it rained, they still had a good time and made the most of that day. And the biggest news of all, I think, may be that Dr. Linehan was just notified that the high school, for the 4th year in a row, has been designated as a reward school status.
Wow.
And this is really impressive. And we delved into the data and looked at this. There are 2 categories for those who may not have heard me speak about this before. One is for significant improvement. The other is for high performance. And Tuckahoe High School was recognized for its high performance. It has to do with our region's performance for all students. No significant gaps with our subgroups, which means socioeconomically disadvantaged students or students with IEPs or English language learners. And there are a number of other very rigorous requirements to receive this designation. We are told that there may be some additional grant money. Last time around, we received $75,000 for the district. We're using that to fund our writing revolution and SAT prep. But this is exciting news, and what we will do is as soon as we get the formal letter to Dr. Wilson, we will get a public communication out via Blackboard Connect explaining more detail. But again, congratulations to the high school
That's great. That's
for their
wonderful
hard
news.
work.
That's
Great
great.
news.
Right, okay. Mr. Reese?
Just a couple of comments. It is a busy time of the year. We're starting to working on closing out this current school year and getting ready to open next. Bids are going out, contract extensions we're putting in for transportation and food service, so the board will be seeing those in the near future. We do have an audit committee meeting next Thursday here in the library, 7:30, for our pre-audit, again, as we're reaching the conclusion of the school year. And I have met with Lee Liu, my replacement, twice now. We're meeting again next week and then a couple of times in June to facilitate that transition into the position. So things are very busy, but going along very smoothly.
Great, thank you. All right, Frank, I know you're going to talk about baseball, and you're going to talk about your college plans and whatever else you've got going on.
All right, let me start with everything, kind of wrapping up senior year right now. Obviously, we have the big day on Thursday for prom. Praying for great weather too, so we're not indoors. But I'm hearing it's sunny, so that's a good start. And following that Monday, we have the Memorial Day ceremony, and I will be speaking in the Memorial Day ceremony. And I also will be representing Tuckahoe on May 30th for the Memorial Day ceremony. I think they're doing a whole thing with the community. So I will be speaking. I spoke to Mr. Pinto, and he did an excellent job running through the whole system with me. So I'm currently working on a speech right now. And then as for the athletic side, I just heard the news about the softball team too. I want to congratulate all of them. And the baseball team, we recently just played up Eastchester, won that tournament this Saturday, extra innings. It was a big game, exciting game.
Who are you playing again?
Eastchester.
Okay.
It was I forgot the name of the tournament, but Don Cecily tournament. Yeah, it was a great game, highly anticipated game, and glad we came out of that one with nice. Lena Poli hit a nice hit there to third base to seal the game for us. And to answer your question, my college plans, I will be, attending Penn College up in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, studying sports management. And I'll be playing basketball there too. So that's the future plans for now. I want to congratulate all the seniors. Every time I pass that board, it seems like in the beginning of the year it's there's one, there's two, and then suddenly there's no room to put any T's. So, and I know people have it from the top of the wall all the way to the bottom. So I want to congratulate my fellow classmates there.
Could I just say, this baseball thing is a great story. Well, both teams. By the way, the tennis team is also in this.
Yeah.
So everybody's doing it. But the baseball, you may recall, there was a movement in the fall that we should merge our team. There were those who thought we didn't have enough kids, that there was a deal on offer that we could merge with Bronxville. They have such nice fields, I suppose, and whatnot. And some concern about losing one's identity, and, you know, a feeling that, well, wait a minute, you know, we can field a team, right? Well, of course, 18-2, beat Bronxville, beat
Eastchester.
Eastchester.
Yeah.
So much for the merger, you know?
Yeah.
Thank heaven we didn't fall for that one.
I think he told us that we play Wednesday at Parkway Oval will be the first game. And Saturday we play at Providence Bank Park at 10 a.m. for the championship. So it's exciting time, kind of, and senior year in that nice note there.
Definitely, that's great. All right, so we have some time for comments by the PTA. Any representatives from the PTA or the Tuckahoe School Foundation? No? Okay. 35 minutes available. The poll is still open. All right, so we're going to next go to first recognition of the audience. The first recognition of the audience is reserved for discussion on agenda items only. There will be a second opportunity to address the board later on at before the end of the meeting. So if anybody's here that would like to comment or ask questions about any of the agenda items, you're more than welcome to come up to the podium and introduce yourself and tell us what's up. Nothing? No? Okay. All right, so we're going to go to old business, and we're going to continue the conversation about field use times. I think the last time that we spoke, there were really, two issues, I think, that perhaps they should be addressed separately. One is when the fields would be available, especially on the weekends, because there have been some concerns about early start times and how it has an impact on the neighborhood and the community that surrounds the school. Some of the other concerns associated with that early start time was also the traffic that seems to, is created on Middle Road and all the subsequent idling and, horn honking and everything else that goes along with that, especially in light of, or is especially disturbing in light that the parking lot is empty. And so I think that, we really need to figure out, first of all, what are the appropriate times that our fields should be available so that we're respectful of the neighborhood, but also what procedures can be put into place to ensure that the first place that anybody even thinks about parking is going to be in our parking lot, prior to going to the middle road. I mean, I guess it's one thing to drop kids off, but that's not the case. People are doing more. And then speaking of dropping kids off, I know that a member of the community and some others had suggested keeping more than one entrance open. That would ease some of that congestion on Middle Road. So that's kind of where, kind of an overview of what has been discussed. I don't know if anybody wants to add anything or...
Well, I think we could maybe just start with just the times.
Yep.
And that would be a recommendation to amend the policy to specify times.
Okay.
I would think specifically for the weekends.
Right. And do you have some times that we
Well, what
could
was
consider?
suggested at the last meeting, I believe by some of the residents, was a 10 a.m. start time on Saturdays and 11 a.m. start time on Sundays. I don't know, I don't think Sundays is an issue with school activities, but Saturday mornings might be. I'm not sure. I don't know what time of football Saturday mornings they start there.
Okay.
So maybe we could set it 10 a.m. unless there is a school event, game, which would require an earlier time, and 11 o'clock on Sundays.
Okay, so...
That would be my proposal.
Okay, so that's 10 o'clock on...
Saturdays.
Piece of paper, I'm sorry. If I
10 o'clock on Saturdays,
10 o'clock on
unless
Saturdays.
there's a school soccer game, football game. Those are the two that I think of that use that field, soccer and football. And that would probably be in the fall. And then 11 o'clock on Sundays.
Okay, so then just to make sure that we're clear, so at 10 o'clock start time, are we saying that people can arrive at the field at 10 o'clock, meaning that the game won't start till 10:30? Or are we saying that...
10 o'clock start time,
10 o'clock
knowing that
start
they would
time.
come earlier.
Okay, all right.
Would there be I like that idea, would we need to have some kind of time limit, like, because I know one of the major complaints is that they're there really early. So should we have something like, if your start time is 10 o'clock, then, like, I mean, you can't be there
Like a
any
half an hour
earlier than
before.
whenever. Like, I mean, you still can't show up at 6 a.m. and start,
No,
practicing.
the gates will
at-
open like a half an hour prior to start time.
Maybe
So if
something
start
like that.
time is, 10 o'clock, then 9:30.
Okay,
The
so we
gates will
have
be
the
open.
entrance on Middle Road, we have the entrance on the corner of Siwanoy and Middle, and is there another entrance on Siwanoy, right over here?
Yeah, yes.
Right, okay, so we can also, as part of that, is to, have those gates open.
Well, yeah, but I don't think that's something that we would put in the policy.
Okay.
Right now, strictly for the policy, I think we should just talk about the hours.
Okay.
And then if there's some practices that, procedures we'd like to start implementing to trial to see if it alleviates any of the traffic,
Right.
we should look into that.
Okay,
But let's just start with times.
all right, so should we, Lauren's not here, it's gonna be dependent on the district clerk. Well, I guess, so we can have a motion to amend the policy. Are we saying effective immediately, or are we saying effective, because I know that I don't think we could do something immediately, because there are programs scheduled, teams scheduled for early at these times. But certainly what we can say is that, certainly effective by the beginning of the school year.
Or even July
Or even-
1st.
yeah,
Or even July 1st.
I'm pretty sure a
First.
lot of these teams end in June
Right.
at one point.
Okay.
So I would say starting July 1st.
All right, so how about we have a motion that, effective July 1st, the Tuckahoe High School, Middle School field will not accommodate any team or field use prior to 10 a.m. on Saturday, unless it's a school activity, and 11 a.m. on Sundays, unless it's a school activity. So do we have a motion? Okay, Michelle, do we have a second? Kathy? All right, any discussion? Now, the only thing I'm concerned about is I'm not sure that we can amend a policy without having a couple of readings of the amended policy. That's why I was hoping to have the district clerk here. So why don't we, well, we're gonna be meeting again on June 6th, so that's gonna give us plenty of time to, implement that. Jim, do you have any insight on what the proper
Yeah,
procedure
you
for this
should,
is?
you should do the 2 readings of the policy to amend that. So,
Okay.
if you did it in June and then, it's supposed to be 30 days later, so you could do it through reorg meeting and
Okay.
be effective then.
Right, okay, so that's what we'll do, is that this will consider like the first, presentation of this, or the first introduction of this at the June 6th meeting. Even though it's a workshop, we will have a special meeting so that we can have a reading of the amended policy, so that we can vote on it finally, perhaps at the end of June. So, the next meeting is June 16th, I think, after the June 6th.
So that would be two.
So that would be 2 readings, and we could vote on it at the reorganization meeting, which is scheduled for the beginning of July. And so that should give us plenty of time. Now, I think that between,
Well, just one more consideration, which Jim could check on, I'm sure, and that would be that we're not under contracts with any organizations.
yeah, that's right.
Because you could have a situation that we'd be breaking a contract
Mhm.
if it, some people may have a contract that begin.
Yeah, I'll double check. I would suspect that anything that we have tied up would be finished by June 30th, and then I don't think we've gotten into the next year already for scheduling, so.
That would
But
be
I'll
fine.
double check that.
I did have another consideration that I wanted to bring up. I'm not sure if this is the right place to do it, but I noticed that another problem was parking, and people were parking, and is there a way that we could funnel people into the parking lot instead of parking on the street and making noise and idling there? So I don't know if, practically, I had some ideas off the top of my head. They might be crazy ideas, so I just wanted to see what you thought. You could have, I don't know, what were my crazy ideas? One was, you could have, should we have a deposit or something that people have in the contract, and if you don't park in the parking lot, then you lose your deposit. And so I don't know if that's something that's workable or doable. And my other idea is, I don't know what our relationship is with the police department, if they would be, you know, if we could ask them to make sure that they ticket anyone who's not supposed to be, I don't even know if that's illegal.
Yeah, I
Is
don't know
it
if we
even-
can
Is it legal
stop
that you
them
can
from
even do that?
parking on the street if it's permitted at the times that they're parking there.
Right.
Yeah.
I think
We can
the
encourage
next step is
people.
really gonna be, you know, I think it's more of an issue for the residents to work with the police department on, you know, there's a lot of options there by prohibiting parking on one side of the street or making changes there that if there aren't cars lined up there because you can't park there, then that's a different situation. So I think those kinds of things may have to be worked out with the police department.
Right.
And I do know that the police department, from talking with some of the residents, are looking for recommendations by the residents. They live there, you know, what do they want to live with? If you prohibit parking because of a sporting event, but that also means that you then can't park in front of your house, that might not be something you want to live with.
Right.
So those are things that really have to be worked out. But I think we can continue to stress to the leagues that are being allowed to permitted to use the field, to encourage parents to park in the lot, you know, just, I think it's just communication, just to continue to communicate that, and then after a while, it becomes
I
practice.
agree. The thing is that I wonder if a lot of parents don't know about the parking lot. Like, if they're not from Tuckahoe, they may not be aware
Right.
of where the parking lot
right
is. If they
there.
come at a certain way, they come from the backside of the field. So maybe something as simple when they know they're coming to the Tuckahoe schools, there is a parking lot next to the school itself, you know, put a little diagram, you know, parking here, please park there, not on the street. I think it does have to go back to the leagues themselves and say, you really need to park in the parking lot. And, I mean, people have to think too. Come on, guys, if you're parking on both sides of the street and you can't go down, you have to say, I gotta park
Can't be
someplace else, or
here.
I can't be blocking. I mean, parents have to think also. I mean,
Do you think
we have
that-
to have some common sense here.
Do you think that the deposit idea is good or bad? I mean, would think it would put skin in the game for
Well,
the people who
I
are
would-
there.
I would
and like
add-
something to compel.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I would add, not just about the parking, but also the cleanliness, because I know that there, you know, have been complaints about just garbage being left on the field. And I think that there should be, like you said, some skin in the game, or some incentive or disincentive, you know, depending on how you look at it, to ensure that when EYSA or whoever else uses the field, that the field is left in, you know, clean condition without water bottles on the floor. I mean, you're not even supposed to be bringing water bottles to the, you know, onto the field.
Onto the turf.
But that, you know, that there should be some, you know, requirement that they have a deposit. And if, I mean, of course, but the issue is, well, who's going to come after the game and who's going to enforce this?
Right.
But I think that one of the things that we spoke about was perhaps creating a committee of members of the community so that they can come together and to come up with some compromise. And that's when we can also introduce the concept of accessing the field, you know, when it isn't being used by a contracted team or our own teams. And maybe we can come to a compromise where we can increase the square footage of available play space in the community, but by at the same time being respectful, you know, of the members of the community who do live around the field. So we're going to start off and move forward quickly with at least the start times. But I think that between now and then, if people are interested in meeting as a group to perhaps, you know, present the board with some recommendations on how to address some of the other issues, I think that that's something that would be welcomed by the board. Okay? All right, so anything else? All right. So let's move on to new business. Michelle, I think we're going to ask you to give us a scoop on the town schools discussion about the use of Siwanoy Boulevard.
Okay, sure. Okay, where do we start with this? If everyone remembers, about 2 years ago, we had done a traffic study survey, and we had also reached out to the community. I believe we had a couple of meetings here, community meetings, where we discussed the opening and closing of Siwanoy Boulevard in front of the Cottle School. What had transpired was, at the time, if everyone remembers, the road was being blocked off, and basically by a chain on either end of Siwanoy, from the early morning to about 6 p.m. at night. And at the time, the school felt that we should install heavier gates there, something more secure, but it's not school property. The street is owned by the town. And so when the district approached the town with this, there was an offer made to the school district that we could, the town was willing to basically gift the street to the school, that we would then have the control to open and close, and at our discretion, do what we basically wanted with Siwanoy Boulevard and that portion in front of Cottle School. So there was a lot of discussion with the board at the time. There was a different administrator, different finance director, and we did do an engineer study, and for various reasons, it was decided that the road would not be taken over by the district, and the town at that point decided to permanently open the street. And changes were made down there. The Cottle Field was fenced in. There were speed bumps put on the road. There was the walkways, more prominent walkways, and different precautions were made to make it as safe as possible, given that it's a public road in the middle of a school campus. Over the last year, maybe prior even to this year, it had come to our attention, and I would not say by a lot of members of the community, but we later found out in February.
Yeah, during our
We
town
had a
hall.
town hall meeting down at Cottle. Julio, Dr. Wilson, Carl Albano gave a presentation. Henry and I were there, basically just there to participate and to see what the Cottle parents, what their concerns were. And it was very, very, very evident that this is a very big concern of the Cottle parents. So at that time, I had requested that Carl readdress with Dr. Wilson and Jim Reese, reopen the discussion because we now have new administration, and let's see where this would go.
And if I can just add that the concern that the parents expressed is that there was very little opportunity to get outside.
Right.
Because since we were only allowed to use the field when it was snowing and it was raining, it wasn't an appropriate place to play. In the past, they've always been able to, gather, play, even when it's cold out on the street, but that just wasn't available anymore.
Right.
And because we're so tight on space, especially down at Cottle, it's not like we can just throw the kids in the cafeteria or have them play in the gym, because that space is being used throughout the day.
Right, and so for the obvious safety reasons, it also is an academic concern, because parents were feeling that their kids were not getting enough outdoor time, and recess wasn't, there were just compounded issues that surrounded Siwanoy Boulevard. Also, parallel to these conversations, the facility committee had begun to meet, and this was something that was also being raised amongst the facility committee, and as a recommendation, they were also asking that this be relooked into. So about a month ago, Dr. Wilson, I, and Carl Albano met with the supervisor, and the offer was made again that the town would be willing to give ownership of Siwanoy Boulevard to the school district. So at this time, we're in a position where we really need to decide, do we want to move forward into looking into what that would look like? Legally, what is the direction that we need to take? And that's where we're at this point.
Right, so what we're looking to do is to get an approval from the board to allow, our attorney to reach out to the town's attorney to start conversations
Right.
about what this would look like, what kind of an arrangement would be, what are some of the liabilities that we might be exposed to if we do decide to take, ownership of the street, what are the opportunities for us now and in the future, and that's really what we're looking for. I'm just going to go ahead and put it to a vote. I don't know if a vote is necessary, but, a motion to allow our attorneys to begin conversations with the town attorneys. I don't think that there'll be any expense associated with it. I would hope that it would be part of the retainer. Within our retainer. But, do I have a motion? Okay, Michelle, second. Kathy, discussion?
I just want to say that, I strongly support this. I'm glad that we're doing it. I think that that street, especially on Cottle, is really important for us to be in control of it. I mean, if you've ever been out there on field day or anything, I mean, just any day of the week, there's always people going in and out, adults, parents, teachers, children, so it's a liability. I mean, it's definitely a safety issue, so I'm glad that we're looking into it. So I strongly support it. I'm glad that we've got Keenan Bean here to look into it and talk to the lawyers on the other side and hopefully come to some kind
I'm
of
sure they'll have
agreement.
one of their team members who specializes in this who will help us.
All right.
Awesome.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. Okay.
All right, that will stay on the agenda as
And
new
that will stay on the
business, and
agenda
we'll
until it's
continue to report as
Right.
we move along.
Right,
And
and
thanks.
just, sorry?
I was going to say thank you, Michelle, for the report.
Right, yeah, and actually it'll move to old business, but, what we've done in the past is that nothing moves off of old business until the board agrees that it's been, addressed. It may not be addressed to our satisfaction, but it's
Right.
been addressed, or we've hit a dead end, and then and only then will that be removed from our agenda. All right, so moving on to the consent agenda, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda, items 2 to 13. Do I have a motion? Henry, second. Michelle. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. I forgot to mention that Steve Pagnotta can't join us today. He's out of town, but he does extend his apologies for not being here. Okay, going to the business of the board. First reading of policies. I'm not actually going to read all of these policies because they're quite extensive, but we do ask people to, if interested, to please go online and access the agenda. You'll see those policies attached, and those are the online banking revisions, as well as the information security breach and notification. Jim, I don't know if you want to add anything to...
These were two that came up during our state audit, and we, in our action item back to the state, said that we would adopt policies to address these issues. So these are the policies that we got from the School Board Association.
Great, okay, so they'll be on the agenda again the next time we meet, and just ask people if they're interested to please access those policies, and feel free to provide any input. Number 2, a motion to approve the following resolution. Whereas the Tuckahoe Union Free School District has been informed of a donation to be made to the district, and whereas the district would like to accept such donation, it is hereby resolved that the district shall accept a donation from the Samuels Foundation in the form of office furniture valued at $7,850. Do I have a motion? Michelle, second. Henry, discussion? I'm an officer of the Samuels Foundation. We're actually moving offices, and we have a lot of high-quality furniture that's in great shape that isn't going to fit in our new space, and so I reached out to Charlie and to Carl and to Jim and offered the furniture to them, and I think it's furniture that will be well used in the school district.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Okay.
And functional.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Just to say thanks,
Thank you.
Leo, for thinking of us and giving it to the district.
All in favor? All right. Opposed? And I abstain. Okay. Number 3, whereas the Tuckahoe Union Free School District has been informed of a donation to be made to the Tuckahoe Athletic Scholarship in memory of Augie Nardone at Tuckahoe High School, and whereas the district would like to accept such donation, it is hereby resolved that the district shall accept a donation from the Eastchester Eagles Sports Club in the amount of $1,000. Do I have a motion? Kathy, second. Michelle, discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. Number 4, motion to approve the 2016-2017 Westchester Putnam School Boards Association slate of officers and members of the Board of Directors, and authorize the board president to sign the Westchester Putnam School Board Association annual meeting ballot as attached to the agenda and official minutes of this meeting. Do I have a motion? Henry, second. Kathy, discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. Personnel. Resolved to appoint the stipends, appoint the coaches with the stipends listed below for the 2016-2017 fall sports season. Andrew Colaswano, excuse me, assistant girls varsity soccer coach, $5,502. David Bendlin, modified boys soccer coach, $4,952. Angela Georgie, modified girls volleyball co-coach, $2,476. Thomas Ittrey, varsity head football coach, $8,253. Stephanie Martino, varsity girls soccer coach, $7,153. Michael McGovern, varsity girls volleyball coach, $7,703. Ernest Morris, modified football coach, $6,052. Gerald DeFabia, modified football coach, $6,052. Joanne Ornstein, modified girls volleyball co-coach, $2,476. Lowell Robinson, assistant varsity football coach, $6,602. James Sweeney, varsity boys soccer coach, $7,153. Adrian Tascon, assistant varsity boys soccer coach, $5,502. And Sloan Dill, JV girls volleyball coach at $6,602. Do I have a motion? Michelle, second. Kathy, discussion. I'd like to amend the motion. There are some certification that has to be completed before the end of the summer, and so I would just like to say that we should appoint these conditioned upon their completing those requirements. So who made the motion originally?
I think I did.
Michelle, would you withdraw the motion?
Yes.
And accept? Okay, so we're going to withdraw the motion, and the new motion is that we appoint the stipends listed below for the 2016-2017 full sports season conditioned upon their completing their certification requirements. Do I have a motion? Do I have a
Well,
motion?
my motion is amended, I think.
Okay, so we amended the motion. Do I have a second? Kathy, discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. Number 2, resolve to approve a leave of absence for Heather Capretti Zemba for the period of September 26, 2016 through January 3rd, 2017 in accordance with the Family Medical Leave Act. Do I have a motion? Michelle, second. Kathy, discussion? All in favor? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. Number 3, there's 9 minutes before the polls close. If you live in Chester Heights, that gives you enough time to get out there. Okay, number 3, resolve that the Board of Education of the Tuckahoe Union Free School District hereby increases the probationary appointment of Marika Dedvukaj, I'm sorry if I'm butchering that, from a .5 FTE cleaner to a 1.0 FTE cleaner effective May 18, 2016 through May 17, 2017. Do I have a motion? Henry, second. Kathy, discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. Number 4, resolve to appoint Danielle Dwyer and James Moore as teachers for the Summer Scholars Program for the period of July 5th, 2016 through July 30th, 2016 at a rate of $55 per hour, not to exceed $3,135 each. Do I have a motion? Henry, I'm sorry, Michelle? My peripheral vision's going. Michelle, second? Henry, thank you. Discussion?
At what point will we know the enrollment for that? For the summer scholars?
Dr. McDonald's working.
Dr.
Yeah,
McDonald?
Once it's the week before it begins, yes. So we send out now invitations.
Mhm.
And then some students are required to come if
Mhm.
they fail 1 or 2 classes. Some just come, and we're also expanding it to be an enrichment type as well. Students who just, or families want them just keep beefing up their
Mhm.
skills over the summer. But we truly don't get enrollment until because it starts right that first week of
Okay.
July. Right after school, that's how they get a week off and then come back. And that's when we actually get our commitments.
And I know you have plans to enhance the program?
We're working toward that,
Right.
yes, we are.
Okay, great.
Let's see if we get it done, yep.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. Number 5, resolved on recommendation of the superintendent of schools to appoint Benjamin Faber to a 1.5-month leave replacement as a special education teacher at Tuckahoe Middle School effective May 18, 2016 through June 30th, 2016 or sooner at the discretion of the Board of Education on Step 2 MA of the TTA salary schedule. Benjamin Faber holds student with disabilities Math 7 through 12 initial extension, students with disabilities 7 through 12 general initial, and Math 7-12 initial certifications. Do I have a motion? Michelle, second. Kathy, discussion? All in favor? Opposed? So moved. Number 6, resolved on recommendation of the superintendent of schools to appoint Michelle Soto to a probationary appointment effective May 18, 2016 through May 17, 2017 as a teaching aide at Tuckahoe Middle School on Step 2 of the CSEA salary schedule. Do I have a motion? Henry, second. Kathy, discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. Number, Number 7, resolve to appoint Meredith Kramer as TMS Chess Club Advisor for the 2015-2016 school year at a stipend of $1,376. Do I have a motion? Michelle, second. Henry, discussion? All in
Was
favor?
she, I'm sorry,
Oh,
was she, I mean, this is the end of the year to be appointing a advisor. Like it was for this school year?
Is it for the 2015-2016 school year? Was
Yes,
this a
it is.
retroactive?
It was left off the original
Okay.
list.
Right, okay.
So we're writing along.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. What?
Just thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, second recognition of the audience. We do have another period for public participation. If you'd like to come up, please identify yourself. Come on up to the podium. I do want to inform everybody that there's only 5 minutes left before the polls close. So there's still some time. After the second recognition of the audience, we're going to resume executive session. We're going to also wait for the results of the budget vote and the trustee vote, which will, once they're verified, we will report back to the community on the results of those. So, second recognition of the audience. Anybody in the audience who'd like to come up and be recognized? No? Okay.
Thank you for making the time policy for the turf. I hope that my Middle Road neighbors will appreciate it as much as I do. But I will have to say that the idea about the money putting in a deposit for, is interesting to me. But I want to ask, soccer, Eastchester Soccer is the group that mostly uses the turf. Do they pay the district, is my question, at the moment, for using the turf so much?
I don't know.
No.
No.
So, if they're not paying originally, then are we gonna ask them for money if they don't, as just
Yeah,
a
I mean, I
thought
think that
I
that's
had.
something that, we should talk about, because the other argument of this, of it is that a lot of people who participate in Eastchester youth soccer, are members of the community and don't want to have to pay additional fee for something that they've already purchased through their taxes. I know that in the past, I don't know if, I don't think he's running the program anymore, but they have made donations, to the school district. The soccer goals outside were donated by EYSA, and I think that they've made other offers to.
Uniforms also?
And uniforms, I think also, and a number of other things. So there have been some informal quid pro quo.
But I think, I had emailed the board, just to say that these should be half dues. If you are not going to abide by these rules, then you can't use the turf.
Right.
You start using the parking lot, then, we're gonna have to ask you not to be able to use it. The littering is terrible, traffic is terrible.
Yeah.
Parking is terrible.
Right.
So if we can figure something out, and let them know that, this is, we are offering you our field, we want you to use it, but you have to, be mindful of the neighbors.
Yeah, I
That'd be
think
great.
there's certainly opportunity to formalize it without being too restrictive, so that, it meets everybody's
Right.
needs.
Well, I will say that I reached out to Sally at the Eastchester Rec Department, and she has emailed me in the past and has forwarded me emails that she has sent parents to say, please use a lot, and they just don't do it.
Right.
So I think it's more about, I want prime parking real estate so that I can get my kid off the field
Right,
really
because you don't
quickly.
want to walk the length of the school to have to.
Exactly.
get to the
I think
field.
they know about the parking lot. I think they just want that prime spot.
Right.
That's just my opinion, so.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else? All right, so with that, I'm going to make a motion to, what's the word I'm looking for? Resume, to reconvene executive session. Do I have a motion? Henry, second. Kathy, discussion, all in favor? Aye. Michelle? Thank you. All right, so we will come back once the results of the budget vote and the trustee vote are in and verified, and we're going to go off the air for now. we're back. It's it's about 10:15, and we do have the results of the budget vote and the trustee vote, and I forgot your official title, Kathy, the monitor, the vote? Chair?
I think, yeah, voter
Well, Kathy,
chair
you're
or
going to give us the results?
Okay, so the results are in. I thank everybody who came out and voted this evening and during the day. The budget passed with a yes of 297 and a no of 101. Board of Education trustees are Robert Cipher, 285, and Dejan Borokovic, 253.
Great, okay. Well, congratulations to them, and I think we have to adopt or accept. Oh, okay, great. All right, great. Resolve that the Board of Education accept the final vote tally for the budget vote and board election held on May 17, 2016 as follows. For the budget vote, yes, 297, no, 101. Board of Education, Robert Cipher, 285, and Daj Provokovic, 253. Do I have a motion? Michelle, second. Henry, discussion? Congratulations to our two new trustees.
Congratulations, yeah.
Okay, great. We look forward to working with you. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you to the community. And now I have the motion to adjourn the meeting. Do I have a motion? Michelle, second. Kathy, discussion? All in favor? All right. Thank you very much. We'll see you on June 6th.
Yes.
And thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Oh, congratulations. I know. That's great.
Accept the results, hidden right there.
Guess who must have been me and Michelle?